Graham is in his crate, the kids are in bed, let's do this thing. Hi, I'm Cozy. I like to snark on sister wives here on YouTube. Uh, I like to remind you before I do that this video is for entertainment purposes only. These are not facts, they're just my opinions about public figures who share their lives publicly on television. Cool? Cool. Alright, so before I jump straight into the episode, I do want to share, if you guys haven't seen my short, we did get a rescue puppy. His name is Graham. He is a shepherd, they think lab mix. He is the sweetest boy, but he is not being exceptionally polite when it comes to filming today. He has been a little bit needy, which is fine for a baby. I just don't know how else to put it. He's been very underfoot today. But he is being a good boy laying down right now. He's got his monkey toy, and I gave him a sweatshirt that I've been wearing for a couple days that smells like me to try and, you know, make him feel calm and comforted. So he's very excited to be living with us. Like I said, there is a short available on my channel introducing the new co-host, but he was asleep during that. Hopefully we'll get some videos of him when he's a little bit more lively and a little bit more ready to be on camera. Today has just been, whew, it's only the third day he's been here, so he's just still figuring it out. So if we hear some little whines and whimpers, he's okay. He's right there, and he and I can see each other. We're good. So since I took up so much time to introduce that, let's get into the episode. It is Christine's wedding, and we open up with Christine's sister, Bethany, showing up with Grandma Annie. And oh my gosh, her sister does not look that much like her. Honestly, I felt like she looked more like Janelle's family than she did look like Christine specifically. But you know what? Excitement is in the air. She's jumping up and down. She's hugging her. She's like screaming, "I'm getting married!" And then we cut to a confessional. And the best part of the opening of the episode happens right here. And it is Christine's tag. You know how it says Christine at the bottom? No longer says third wife, no longer says ex-wife. It says David's fiance. And I squealed and like patted my husband on the leg. I was like, husband, look. I was so excited for her. So it's super cute. Of course, David says Christine's fiance, but that's not surprising. And they're talking about how excited they are to get married. And I'm just over here like, oh my gosh, what a timeline to put this all together. Because she's like, we met 10 months ago. And I'm like, how are they doing this? And then I remembered I met my husband in May of 2016. And we got married in May of 2017. A year and 5 days after we met. And I'm like, ooh, I have no room to talk. Except that I made it the whole year, Christine. That'll be relevant later. So Christine's like, I stalked his profile online, and I was like, oh, I'm starting to think this is less of a joke than I thought it was, because she's like, his pictures are amazing and sign me up for that. And David's like, I remember thinking she was really aggressive. Like, she wanted to meet quickly. And so Janelle shares that they didn't talk a ton about David, but she remembers one thing. Christine pointed out that David is very present and helpful when it comes to planning events. And we know that we've seen Cody is not exceptionally helpful or present. Even up to the most recent Truly birthday, he was not really as available as he could be for the preparation, and then tried to burn the chicken anyway. He's very much so detached. I get the feeling he's the kind of guy who lets everybody else do the prep work and then shows up 45 minutes late because he's the life of the party. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So, Christine's like, I thought that David had the most beautiful, arresting eyes, and David's like, I thought you were hot, and she giggles at that. And I think that for somebody who spent so long hearing that she was so unattractive to her partner, that it's really important and wonderful for her to get to hear those things. And he's like, she has this incredible glow. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. And that makes the next part even better, because Christine's nephew is there, and they decide they're going to show Bethany and the nephew the favors that they are going to be putting together. And they are glow stick glasses. Because they're going to be leaving when everything is dark. So Christine's like, do you want to see him? And she takes her nephew into the playroom. And David closes the door playfully behind her, and there's like giggling and little shrieks, and it's really cute. And by shrieks, I mean like playful shrieks, not scared. So in the confessional, David teases Christine that she paused when he said he had 8 children. And she's like, are you sure? Did I pause? But if she did, let's think about it logistically. Christine either has 6, 13, or 18 children, depending on what metric you want to use. And She has a sister wife. And now his 8. That is 20 plus kids, a whole extra wife that he doesn't have to be married to. And that's a lot logistically. And so I would probably pause and consider how that would all work, especially considering that Christine was like, no, I really think that this dude is who I want to be with. So I'm going to be honest. I do not have a ton of positive things to say about the person who arrives next in this. I have a lot of, I wouldn't say necessarily negative, maybe they are, but I definitely have some criticism for this individual, and that would be Mykelti and Tony. They show up with the twins, and somehow not Avalon? Like, I did not see her at all. And the babies are super cute, right? And it's super nice we get to see them with zero introduction, since in the timeline of the show, they haven't even been born yet. But honestly, I really could have done without Mykelti's section in pretty much all of the wedding. If I'm being honest. I was not entertained by her or Tony's words and antics during the entire episode. I'm just going to put it out there. So Mykelti asks her if she's wearing white because it's her bridal weekend, and Christine's like, I'm practicing to not stain my dress. And she makes a declaration she is not going to get dirty. So Tony's like, oh, well then, no babies for you because babies make you dirty. And I guess that would be a fine joke, except if he hadn't stared down the lens of the camera, like he was trying to make eye contact with me and bring me into the joke that I did not want to be in. I was like, no, I don't agree with you. Give that woman a baby. Like, I was, my husband will tell you, from the moment that they started talking, I was like, no, I'm already over it. I hate to say it, but those two have some really intense main character syndrome, and I can only take it in small doses. And unfortunately, these episodes are not small doses. Mykelti quips about having more people at their wedding than David and Christine are going to have, and David's like, well, it's quality, not quantity. And we get a confessional here where Christine says she basically like panic shared to David that she was the third wife in a polygamous family, and there are 18 kids, and now there's a fourth wife. And he's like, And then eventually she's like, okay, well, but my family's been public for 13 years. And he's like, yeah, I know, I don't live under a rock. I mean, Christine, come on. David had a wife and 8 kids. Somebody was probably watching Sister Wives, considering that they're in Utah and, have polygamous family members. So we bounce on over to the She-Ra Chateau, where I don't want to be, and Cody is dropping a tree. And I use that language because Logan isn't there to tell him not to and be his parent, like episode 1 of the entire series. And for reasons I cannot figure out, Cody is swearing at the tree as it falls. The tree didn't seem to fall in the wrong direction to me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But this is where he jumps into letting us know that he found out about Christine's wedding because the invite was on the refrigerator at his sister's house. And I'm wondering if this is the same sister that he accused of being disloyal on the Radio Free Mormon interview that he did a few months back. Because he's like, oh, she never watched the show. She watched like one of the newer episodes and gave me some flack about it. And he was very upset with her. So I wonder if this is the same sister. But we are about to get into an obviously awkward conversation. Cody is acting like overly jovial, and it is almost uncanny valley, this smile and the wide eyes that he has. It's just, something about it feels very wrong. I don't know what it is. I'm not trying to be nasty. I just am so confused. Anyway, he's sitting there pretending that nothing bothers him, and Robin's kind of just like, being like a little bit of a sad sack. And he's trying to share something that Christine had accused him of. Likely that he had a soulmate, and wasn't honest about it, because that's not really a thing you're allowed to do in the AUB, have a soulmate and show them preferential treatment. But Robin cuts him off by pulling him in close and being like, aren't we just so happy for them? She says it at least 3 times. And it's weird. It's just, the whole thing is weird. This weird act of happiness, this weird, obvious ability to shut Cody down by Robin. Everything is just very strange. I don't know what it is, but I could have done without it. It really could not be more obvious, though, that he is internally fuming that his family was invited and that some of them are going. So he goes on to say that Christine had told the children, Dad has his soulmate and I'm going to go find mine. And I think that that's actually a healthy thing for her to say. She's acknowledging the importance of the relationship between Cody and Robin while at the same time acknowledging that her ability to be happy and have love is also important. I don't think that's wrong. But as he's saying this, Robin's doing a lot of performative, like cheek puffing. She shakes her head a little bit when Cody says Christine's going to find her soulmate. And so Robin's like, oh, I wasn't sure what you were going to say. And of course you weren't, because it's Cody. We've seen him before. But he's like, I've been angry for 3 years. That doesn't mean I can't be happy for her now. Did we just like flip a switch? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Because even in the talkbacks and lookbacks, he's still super angry. So I don't get it. Anyway, Robin says, I just hope they can be happy together. And someone in the comments had pointed out that the implication being that she doesn't think that someone could find happiness with Christine. And that could be. But I think the other option is that she doesn't think Christine can find happiness outside of Cody and the Brown family. Either way, still feels passive-aggressive, you're right. So now we're back to Mykelti. And I am really struggling with this scene because this attitude this vibe that she gives off just does not scream teasing to me. It doesn't. And so David mentions the barbecue, and Mykelti says something about, are we bringing carne asada? Or I hope we're bringing carne asada. And David starts to say there's going to be ribeye, and she's like, oh, so ours is better. Really? So in the confessional, she's like, I love David. He's incredible. We tease each other all the time. And she's like, you know if I don't like you, if I don't tease you. Now, maybe I'm projecting a bit here because I do tease people. But, like, I don't like that she's made that, like, her whole personality. In fact, she's got a lot of weird things she makes her whole personality. So going a little deeper, David reveals that his family from Mexico will be here. And Mykelti just jumps all over that. Oh, your family from Mexico? Like, guys, stop. Okay? And that's where I have to bring up another grievance. And maybe I'm in the wrong here. And if I am, I am. But I feel like she has taken Tony's heritage and culture and sort of made it a large part of her personality trait. Does that make sense? I'm not accusing her of cultural appropriation, just of like, I feel like she's constantly still trying to stick it to Christine that she didn't like Tony and that Mykelti believes it's because Tony is Hispanic. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels weird. I get a weird vibe because I just don't think that's the most important thing about someone necessarily. I think who they are as a person is more important. And like, I don't go around telling everybody, oh, here is my biracial husband, and here, let me pull something. We grew up in the same city. Our background is pretty much the same. We know the same stuff. We went the same places. The only thing that I've introduced him to is Polish food, and let me tell you, he can pack away more glumki and sauerkraut on New Year's Eve than I've ever been able to pack away. If you don't know, glumki, cabbage roll, very good. If you are Hungarian or other Slavic heritage, you might know it by, I believe, halupki is how they call it. I'm not 100% sure though. So that's my rant there. I just feel, I get a weird vibe off of it. I don't like it. It's just weird to me. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. So in the confessional that follows, David reveals that he has 2 sisters who live polygamy in Mexico. And there are several fundamentalist Mormon colonies in Mexico, so I could not confirm if the AUB was officially one of them. But I do know the LeBaron group fled to Mexico, and if that name sounds familiar, it should. Christine's mom's name was Annie LeBaron. May still be. So the leader of the group, of the LeBaron group, Herbal LeBaron, also gained infamy for ordering a hit on Christine's paternal grandfather, which was unfortunately successfully completed. Rulon Allred was the leader of the AUB. That would be Rex Allred, Christine's father's father. Okay? Are we following? Great. So, yes, it appears she is related to Herbal through her mother. I believe he is an uncle or a great uncle. And of course, related to Rulon through her father. What a strange way to have Christine come into existence, honestly, because you'd think that those two would never have gotten along. And I mean, I guess they divorced, so it seems as though they didn't really get along very well. But are you seeing why I'm starting to say that this is less of a family tree and more of a family bush? Other important factor. Can I confirm that the LeBaron group is the group that David's sisters are in? No. And partly because Lauren C. Woolley, yes, Woolley, started the AUB. Now, this is a tangled web of crazy. I have no official way to confirm that David is in fact related to that Woolley. I don't. Does it seem likely based off of knowing his sisters live polygamy? Yes. Have I heard that he has denied it previously? Yes. So can I confirm? No. Am I just giving you the information about how the cult started? Yes. And yes, I did say cult, not church, because I do believe that's what it is. So tangled over crazy, right? Anyway, two sisters in polygamy who live in Mexico, and he has exactly zero interest of doing anything close to that lifestyle. Bad phrasing, because y'all are going to say Christine is close to it, but you know what I'm trying to say. So Mykelti has to come back and be... Listen, I liked Mykelti a lot back in the day, and I felt really bad for her that she seemed like the black sheep in the family. But just recently, I really wanted to be like, honey, you're a wife and a mom now. You've moved past that. It is time to let it go and maybe grow up a little. Like, I know that might be unfair, but I'm being honest. She needs to let it go for her own health. So she's getting sarcastic, and she's like, I guess you could marry him. And then she's like, but it's a little soon. Making reference to her engagement with Tony. And she even goes as far to be like, maybe you should wait until December. And Christine's like, I see what you're doing here. And then the pair go on to share how they think that Christine is hypocritical for marrying David so quickly. And this said everything I need to, because I've often thought that Tony holds a lot of resentment toward Christine. I have thought for a long time that he is significantly less polite and less kind to Christine than he is to Robin. That is my opinion. And so I now really think they've never forgiven Christine for not immediately accepting Tony. And it made it even more clear knowing this, like hearing this, seeing where their loyalties lie. And yeah, it's probably easy to be like, oh, they're just joking around. And maybe, but it does feel like he harbors some resentment to Christine. And I think, though, what they should have recalled is that they were trying to make a mess of Maddie's wedding. Whether they want to believe it or not, Maddie was already stressed to the absolute nth degree. And Mykelti was trying to swoop in there and get married in August and sort of just create chaos and confusion right at the home stretch of Maddie getting married. So, I don't know. The immaturity of all of it grinds my gears. Your mother did the right thing telling you guys to wait. She did. Sorry. So when they call them hypocrites, David's like, me? And Tony responds with, I think we're supposed to say we need a little more time to get to know David better. And they like keep thinking that they're funny because they're like, we're not there yet. He's not from the polygamous family. Not a polygamous family, the polygamous family. Which feels like an unnecessary dig at Maddie because we know all of the backstory. But she wasn't involved in any of the behind-the-scenes drama. I don't know. So Mykelti's like, why don't you just elope? And Christine actually seems a little hurt when she's like, do you know how important it is for me to walk down the aisle in that dress to David? Mykelti's like, well, I know it's important to you. I don't know. It's important to all of us, too, to see her finally get something that literally every other wife of Cody had. Sorry. So Christine makes a joke that she's excited to say I do, and he's excited to say I do to everything she wants. And Mykelti's like, do you feel like this is going to be a wedding of your dreams? And Christine says, definitely. So we get a flashback of the wedding photos for Meri, Christine, and Janelle, as Christine's explaining to her that her wedding to Cody was just a small religious affair and super private. And she goes on to explain that a plural wife always has a smaller wedding. And it's great because as she's saying there is no dancing, no cake cutting, they show Robin's professionally done wedding pictures. I nearly died at how perfectly Puddle Monkey put that together. She says there was no party, just a simple dinner, and she's excited for a big wedding finally. Christine admits that this has gone fast, and she says the secret, here's a secret. The night of her first date with David, she had another date with another guy scheduled, and she wasn't looking to settle down just yet. But after meeting David, she called off the other date and called her matchmaker and was like, I don't need you anymore. Thank you, though. So we come back from a commercial, and this B-roll that they have is just wild, but I'm here for it because it all looks beautiful. And we sent her back in, and the ladies getting facials, sort of. They're being given do-it-yourself kits because there are so many of them. But the makeup artists are going to do a trial run of Christine's makeup and hair. So they do this pampering session. After they're doing this pampering session, they're going to be heading to the rehearsal and then to the dinner following. And Christine's like, it feels like a little bit of a time crunch. But the boys are off with David doing a little bachelor party thing. That's what she says. So seeing Annie there, watching all of this, just taking it all in, is just so lovely. And you can tell that she is just beaming, being there for her daughter. And I know missing Christine's first wedding has to have weighed on her for all this time, given that she made the dress and wasn't even allowed to attend. So Aspen and Isabel ask each other if they're excited about the wedding, and then the camera pans as they ask Truly. And oh, that purple hair was a choice. A choice I made at her age too, and it didn't look great on me either. Mostly because I didn't dye this, so... it looked ridiculous. But Truly's like, I already live with both of them, and I refer to them as husband and wife, which, fair, I get her logic, but I can also see why the distinction was important to Christine, because this was her first real marriage. I'm gonna say it that way. That's, yeah. So the camera pulls back, and there's Mykelti, like, literally up in Aspen's space, and I'm like, it just feels like she sees a camera, and she's like, running straight to it. You know what I mean? So I might be projecting, but I feel like she's finding every way possible to be in every shot. I don't know. So Isabel asks if this is going to be an adjustment for Mykelti and Aspen. And Mykelti jumps in and she's like, not even a little one. I already accepted him as our stepfather. And Aspen's just like, stepfather. Like, I don't think that's something that Aspen's enjoying. So Christine shares a small bit of the conversation she had with Truly about moving in with David. And they both agreed they were a little nervous about it. And then Truly was like, oh, well, and a lot, okay? And so Christine's like, you know what? He's not going to replace your dad. At this point, why not? It's not like Cody really seems to have the most amazing relationship with her. But hey, what do I know? I don't live in their house. She's like, I made sure that Truly knew that David wasn't looking to replace her father. That's just not what he's looking for at all. And do I think it's possible that it could happen? I don't know what kind of relationship Truly's looking for, so I'm not going to put that on her. But Christine says it's going to be weird to have a guy living with them full time, and Mykelti agrees. Truly agrees with her, because neither of them have ever experienced that. And that's such a strange thing to consider, because Christine is the only wife of Cody who never had a full-time husband ever. Meri and Cody had 3 years together before Janelle. Janelle was married to Adam for at least a year before they divorced and she married Cody. And we know that Robin was with her first husband for 9 years in monogamy, which she forgets whenever it's convenient to tell others how to live polygamy. So it's just so weird to think that Christine, of all of them, was the only one to never have that experience. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? So Isabel shares that David is obsessed with Christine, and he should be, because Christine's awesome. And I can just hear the screaming at the She-Ra Chateau right now about Isabel not being loyal, since that was kind of the same thing Mykelti said, and Cody let her have it in the tell-all. Aspen echoes the feeling, but you know what? I don't think any of them are that worried about burning bridges at this point. So Aspen continues saying you can tell how much they really love each other and how he takes such good care of her. And Isabel and Aspen together was nearly impossible for husband to keep straight, because Christine basically went like, copy, paste with these two. So now Mykelti needs to feel special, because apparently we weren't paying enough attention to her, and says, out of all your daughters, am I the most fun? Christine doesn't technically say yes. She says Mykelti is like a constant party, but is able to see what is needed in a room. she can't read any room she enters based off of all of her earlier performances. She made you do that awful goodbye when we all know you didn't actually need it. And also, never in my life have I been to a party and thought, I wish this could be constant. Like, let's do this forever. No, I want to leave because all of this is tiring. And Christine says that one of David's daughters is the same way. And poor Ray's like, I get compared to you a lot and I like it. Girl, don't lie. So Ray, or Reagan, gets a confessional where she says it was very interesting to have her dad fall in love with someone like Christine. They're both leaders and have strong personalities. She's like, yeah, pretty bossy, and laughs. And part of me is like, I think she likes Christine, but then part of me is like, maybe she's not happy about this. I couldn't tell. I'll be honest. So we come back to Christine saying something about 3 a.m. being very irrational, and she was solving what we're never going to know because Mykelti has to yell out about Christine having cold feet. And the way Christine kind of laughs when she's like, no, I'm never going to get cold feet. Like, to me, it feels like she was like, can you just stop for 15 minutes? Like, she should have been like, Mykelti, enough. Today isn't about you. Let me talk. Like, I swear. Maybe that was just me saying it to the screen and really hoping Christine echoed the same thing. I don't know. Either way, she's like, I'm marrying the love of my life. And then she mimics the tears of joy, to which Mykelti gives a really sarcastic, wow. Like, oh my gosh, there are 26 minutes left in this, and I know that I have to sit through more of this nonsense, and plus the other special, and ooh. And listen, I know she's choosing to take a step back from social media because she feels like she's struggling emotionally, and that is fine. I don't necessarily want to be out here adding to that, but she's really hard to watch in this, and I really think she would take a great benefit from stepping back, evaluating, just sort of relaxing. And let me tell you, I say this as somebody who can have some Mykelti in her. I've struggled with main character syndrome in the past. I am no stranger to the all eyes on me attitude. But I'm no longer that kind of confident person that I was, and frankly, I cringe inwardly every day about the way that I either acted back then or about things that I might say now. I'm very anxious about all of the things that I say. And unfortunately, there's people in my life who are never going to stop seeing me the way that I was when I felt more like I needed all of the eyes on me. And honestly, sometimes these videos are a struggle to even film because I don't necessarily want everyone in the world seeing me all of the time. You know? That being said, there is not a child in this family that I don't want the best for, even Robin's kids. Because yes, they can annoy me with their antics, but at the end of the day, there are very real people who live very real lives. And while I am frustrated and annoyed watching her on screen, I don't know what she is like every single day. Maybe she just really, really, really wants to be the center of attention on the show. I couldn't say. So, that being said, leaving that there, we're going to hop on over to Parowan, where Meri's decorating the B&B for the haunted house that they did, which was so cute. Oh my gosh. And she's got on a graphic tee like she always does, and it says resting witch face. And I really feel like she should have just like boxed that on up and sent it over to Robin. And obviously, I'm no stranger to a graphic tee, but let me tell you the truth. This isn't mine. This is husband's. I'm cosplaying a Naruto fan, apparently. So don't come at me. I don't really know what this is. Anyway, so she says for like the millionth time that she just wants Christine to be happy and she's happy for her, and reminds us that she would like the same thing eventually. It really is starting to feel a little bit scripted at this point because every time we see Meri, that's all she says, which is fine. And maybe if we hadn't just seen an 8-part tell-all of her saying that, and let's be serious, that's basically what it was. We had 4 parts of a one-on-one and 4 parts of a talk-back, look-back. It was an 8-part tell-all, y'all. I don't know if it would feel so old by this point, but it seriously does. She actually says it twice in this episode, like the same script. But I do like that Meri refers to this as our family when she talks about there being some animosity in the family. And she says specifically our family, which feels important because everybody else talks about leaving the family. But no matter what, they are still family. Like, all of the kids share a father, they share a history, and props to Meri for pointing out that they are still family. So back to Moab. Christine finishes her makeup trial, and she's pleased with it. And Mykelti's like, okay, I guess you can get married. This is your permission. So now Reagan is leaning hard into being Mykelti because she agrees that now she just decided to give permission. And Mykelti has to take her new ally and throw her under a series of buses by saying that Ray secretly told her that before this exact moment, she didn't want Christine to marry her dad. And Ray's like, Mykelti's a liar. I'll go through with a lot of things she says, but not that. And Ray makes some comment about her taking a while to warm up after Mykelti told her all the kids' names. I'll be honest, I didn't get it. I didn't know if it's because there were so many. I don't know. But Christine jumps up and says, babies, and pulls all her girls in for a hug and is like, yeah, Ray, like pulling her in too. So off to the rehearsal at Red Cliff's Lodge. It's super pretty. And everyone's there, and Christine singles out Gabe for a hug, and I think Gabe is her secret favorite. Just saying. She always is there, like, so excited to see Gabe. But also, I have to say, I mean, we saw some of the faces that we never see anymore, which was super great, but I really have to be like, I couldn't help but notice how casual everyone is dressed, and then you have Glam Queen Aspen. She looks amazing, but seriously out of place with everyone else. Also, seeing Isabel hug Gabe behind Janelle and Christine just, like, put into perspective not only how tall she is, but how much she really does love her siblings. Like, it was just so sweet. So Janelle shares that she's had a few opportunities to stay a few days at a time, like, spend a few days at a time with David. And she shares that the more she hangs out with him, the more she really thinks he's a great guy. And I'd make a joke about her lunches with Cody, but I don't think she's interested in going that route again. But if David has a brother who's available... You know what? Don't say anything. We don't want Janelle running off to Mexico with his polygamous sisters. I'm just saying. She says, so David's like, do you like the venue? And she says, it's totally you guys. And I flash back to Janelle liking Robin's venue and how big of a deal that supposedly was. And it's just, like, so strange to watch all of this with 14 years of Sister Wives lore to, like, look back on and make connections. But in a confessional again, Janelle said that this is totally Christine and David. She says he doesn't know a stranger, and David's very much like, come, hang out. And Christine's very much like, have a party at my house. And they just fit each other that way. And I'm going to cut it here because I can see poor Graham is getting a little antsy. So we're going to go potties. I'm going to cut this video here and make a second video about the second half of the episode because it gets crazy after this. Just saying. We get a lot of things really fast all at once. So I'm going to cut this off here. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this recap. If you did, feel free to like, feel free to subscribe. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hopefully I haven't said anything here that's going to make anybody go too banana sandwich crazy. Also, if you made it to the end of the video, I am trying to decide if I should crochet a temperature blanket for this year, since I'm only about 8 days behind. If you think I should, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think I should do a temperature blanket for this year, because the temperature here has already been wild enough that this thing would be super colorful. So I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Bye!